Oh yeah, another episode of Crystal's Nightcap. There's something in my eyeball. Wait, first of all, I need to apologize. I don't know if you could see it, Esteban. Maybe you could zoom in a little bit on my eyebrows. You guys know we're on YouTube now. Tuesdays and Thursdays episodes are on YouTube. And the problem today is that I forgot my eyebrow makeup. And I completely over tweezed so I don't have eyebrows. So I used black eyeliner to fill in my eyebrows today. We thought that maybe on camera it wouldn't look too bad. Esteban, 1 to 10, how did it look? He's shaking his head in disagreement, like a 6 or a 5. Okay, I don't think they look that bad. Okay, in the YouTube comments below, I still have something in my eye. Sorry. In the YouTube comments below, does it look like trash? Do I look like I have 2 black caterpillars on my eyebrows? Because y'all know I'm like light haired, so my eyebrows are usually like a light brown. Anyways, that's not important. What is important is that you're here hanging out with me. Thank you so much wherever you are listening, whether it's on iTunes, Spotify, the free iHeartRadio app, Google Play. Thank you so much. Make sure you press that subscribe button so you can get notified every night when I bring out a new episode. And especially if you're watching on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. Make sure to give this video a big thumbs up if you are liking it so far. So we're going to get right into things. We're going to start with Hand Me the Headlines. Anything poppin', celeb news, trending things that I saw. We're about to talk about it right now. The first thing I want to talk about is this Lindsay Lohan and Paris Hilton feud. All right. I think we all knew that there was a feud, but there's just so many things that have happened within their friendship situation that I didn't really know exactly what this feud was about. Okay. So today in an interview, Lindsay Lohan was asked about some rude things that Paris Hilton said in another recent interview, because Paris Hilton went on Andy Cohen's show and Andy Cohen was like, say a few nice things about Lindsay Lohan. And this is what Paris Hilton had to say. Not too nice.
Paris, say 3 nice things about Lindsay Lohan.
She's beyond.
That's fun. That's a pretty nice one to say, that she's beyond.
Lame and embarrassing.
Okay.
Okay, I thought that was hella funny because in Paris's case, saying that someone, or just starting off saying that someone is beyond, you can take that anyway. Like, someone is beyond, okay, like she's extra, whatever the case may be. But then she goes on to say that she is lame and embarrassing. You can't help but kind of laugh. That was very like a bullying, mean girl type of thing to say. I understand. Paris Hilton later went on another interview and said, you know what, that was very immature of me. My mom told me that if you don't have anything nice to say, you shouldn't say it at all. I shouldn't have said that. So, okay, Paris is over here trying to redeem herself. And today in an interview, like I said, Lindsay Lohan was over here. She gave the who when she was asked about Paris Hilton. Listen to this.
And we played something the other day. It was something Paris had said about you and the Britney and the her days.
Who's that?
Here. Paris Hilton.
Who's that?
Oh. Who's that? Who that girl is? Yeah, clearly that was shade. And Lindsay Lohan went on. She's like, there's nothing negative in my life. I don't have beef with anyone, blah, blah, blah. Sis, we do have beef. And I did some investigating, okay? I did a little Google search trying to figure out, like, what the issue was, like, what sparked this. But it's very long, very complicated. This goes back to, like, what does it say? 2006. This goes back to 2006, where apparently Lindsay Lohan started dating one of Paris Hilton's ex, Stavros. Y'all remember Stavros? Dude, I remember like Stavros was just the biggest deal ever because he was dating all these A-list celebrities, aka Paris Hilton at the time, Lindsay Lohan at the time. And then when Paris was out with one of her friends, his name was Brandon Davis. Brandon Davis went off on the paparazzi. This was when that whole fire crotch comment happened. That was big. That was huge. Like, we've never heard that before. Like, we've never heard of a redhead referred to as fire crotch, and it was good. And then it just went back and forth from there. Paris Hilton's little brother got beat up one time, and he said that it was Lindsay's fault. Paris Hilton commented on that Instagram post. This was back in 2013, saying, no one messes with my family. And then they were seen at a party together again. This friendship has been like off and off, and they have like both said some pretty nasty things about each other, like I said, on and off. So I could see like why they have this beef and why they aren't really friends. And honestly, with people like that, with people who can just like switch up all the time, friends who, one day they'll say some rude stuff about you, and then next time you guys will hang out, hash it out again. Another one of you guys says some rude things. Either it's a joke or not, or if it's taken out of context, whatever. When you're talking about someone in a negative way at all, you don't really want to keep someone like that in your life. If someone's talking about you in a negative way, I mean. So I definitely see where this beef is, why this beef has happened. It stems from a long time ago. This is over a 10-year beef of beefing, being friends, beefing, being friends. I just think that the two of them need to grow up and just not say anything at all. Like Paris Hilton's mom told her, if you don't have anything nice to say, just don't say it at all. In Lindsay's case right here, I mean, she was like, who? That's shade as well. So they would just look more grown and more mature if they didn't say anything. We're not all like that. But if I did have beef with someone, I don't know. I feel like you can never go wrong taking the high road. That's just what I think. Like, you can never, no one can ever say anything bad about you if you're just like, oh, I don't want to talk about that. Or, let's just leave that in the past, or whatever the case may be. So the beef has been kind of happening for a while. And there's another beef that just got closed today. And I'm really excited to talk about this because this beef goes deep too. All right. Y'all know Katy Perry and Taylor Swift, they haven't been besties at all. I mean, Taylor Swift allegedly made that whole song Bad Blood about Katy Perry. And the beef between that allegedly is that Katy Perry had these backup dancers for one of her tours, and Taylor Swift really liked one of them or a few of them, and Taylor Swift just snatched them from Katy Perry. And that's where this kind of beef started and had been going for a long time, for a while. We don't know more behind the scenes about that, but I'm sure there is other things going on, because there must have been some shady things going on other than that. But today, the beef has officially been squashed because Katy Perry on her Instagram, sorry, I'm still not feeling good. If you guys heard last night's Nightcap, I was going through it. I was just coughing up. That's the thing that sucks about the hot weather. And then when you're sick on top of it, it's like all you want to do is be cute and be out in the sun and tan, but not when you're feeling sick. So yes, 5 hours ago, Katy Perry posted this plate of cookies on her Instagram, and it's like chocolate chip cookies. And then in, I guess, like, I don't know, in frosting writing or something, it says peace at last. And she tags Taylor Swift. And then 4 hours ago, just an hour after that post, Taylor Swift commented hella heart emojis under the post. So I want to know what that conversation's about. I want to know who reached out to who gave the olive branch to who, and how they bonded over cookies today, because that's some good tea right there. Okay, that's some good milk with these cookies. I'm not gonna lie, because I thought that, yeah, the whole beef between them, I thought, man, this is probably never gonna get resolved. But these ladies are grown. Taylor Swift's almost in her 30s. If she's not, I think she is. Yeah, I think she's in her 30s now. I think she just turned 30. And Katy Perry I believe is a little older. So they're too grown to be having beef. And I think it's great when people can like squash the beef like this and just kind of forget the past and grow up and just understand that things happen, relationships, fall out for whatever reasons, but you can always come back together and just kind of put all of that to rest. Here in the building, actually, I did do that with someone who her and I, we didn't have the best relationship. I'm obviously not going to say names. I don't need to rat anyone out. But when I was an intern here, there was someone who was above me working here at the station. And she was like kind of my boss, I would say. And she just like wasn't really nice. And I was like laughing in the back right there. I mean, she was hecka rude, to be honest with you. And I remember it was like in the transition. She was my boss when I was an intern. So I had interned for her, and then I had interned for the digital department when Instagram and Twitter was like popping off barely. And then I started interning for the JV show about a year later after I started interning for this person. So at the time that I was interning for the JV show, things were going really well. I was with them for a few months already, and I was like, you know what? I don't want to do like the promotion stuff anymore. Like I just only want to do the JV show interning now. And I go up to her and I tell her, I'm like, hey, listen, thanks so much for everything you've done for me, and I love this opportunity being a promotions intern, but I rather just intern for the JV show now. I'm gonna I'm not going to do promotions anymore. And she was just hella rude. She was like, oh, well, if you're going to go to the JV show, you can't come back here. And I was like, okay, I don't want to come back here. And then she was also like, I told her, I was like, you know what? I know Wild Jam is coming up. I'll still totally help you guys with Wild Jam. I have no problem helping out for that event. She's like, we don't need you. It's fine. Like, you can leave now. She was hella rude. And I was just like, dang, who hurt you, sis? Like, why are you? I don't know. It was like a lot of things. And that was like the bigger one where it was just like sass and rudeness. And then later on down the road, I ended up getting promoted and actually being a part, like a paid position on the JV show. And coincidentally, she was like working the same shift around that I was too. So I would see her all the time, but same thing, like she would like ignore me. She would roll her eyes at me. She would like ignore me, act like I was just a speck on the wall. And it was really negative because I would see this person all of the time and it was just negative vibes, negative juju. And I was like, okay, you know what? She's older than me. I don't know what resentment she has towards me or why she's hating, but I'm gonna just try to like extend this olive branch. And I knew that sis worked out a lot. She was kind of like a workout head. And one day, like she was walking and she always wears her little spandex. And I was like, hey, your butt looks really good today. Like I was just like, trying to throw a compliment to see how receptive she was to it. And she was like, oh, really? Thanks. And ever since that day, whenever we would cross paths, she would say hi to me. She would smile at me. We became friends. She even ended up like inviting me to her birthday party one day, like recently. So her and I are obviously cool now, but I just remember like at the time I was just like, I don't understand why this person hates me, like why this person is so rude and nasty to me. And I wanted to be the bigger person and stop all this negativity because we would get in hella early. And that's the worst thing when you have an early shift and you're in the building with someone and they're just, you don't need negative energy at 5 a.m. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. That's just kind of like a little story that I want to share with you. I think a compliment does go a long way. And I knew that that's the kind of compliment that she would have liked and loved and deserved, honestly, because her butt is banging, like to this day, banging. And I have nothing bad to say about her. We're really cool now. But yeah, I think that sometimes a lot of us like have too much pride or, don't feel the need to be the bigger person. If someone is negative towards you unwarranted, then you're just kind of like, well, then screw that person. But, it just takes little things to change someone's heart. And she might have not been receptive to that compliment. Some people, for some reason, some people have just malice in their heart and they still would have been like, okay, or ignored that compliment or something. But like I said, you can never be wrong being the bigger person or, trying to squash a beef or something. If there's anyone in your life, maybe like, let me know if there's people in your life maybe that you have beef with and don't really know how to resolve it. Or maybe you do try to resolve it. Because there are some people, like I said, it's just a waste. Like they're always going to be angry. They're always going to be nasty. There's nothing you can really do. But, if you do try a little bit, you never know what can happen. And in this case for me, luckily, we were able to squash the beef. And just like Taylor Swift and Katy Perry did, I mean, seeing heart emojis from Taylor Swift under Katy Perry's post, like who would ever thought that would have happened? And all the comments are like, oh, what's the tea? What's the tea? I want to know. But yeah, I mean, we stand peaceful legends out here. I think that's great that they are hatching all the bad blood and all the bad drama. Congratulations to Katy Perry and Taylor Swift for, being friends now. So the next thing we are going to talk about is this story that I read on the New York Post, and it's talking about Americans and what they sleep with for like comfort objects. So right here it says 1/3 of Americans sleep with some type of comfort object from their childhood. It says that 41% have nighttime rituals to help them fall asleep on time. Some people like to check the doors when they're locked. People like to listen to music. That's 30%. And some people like to watch a specific TV show or something on YouTube. That's 28%. Other people like to just be on their phone. That's 28%. And 27% of Americans like to read a book when they go to sleep. Yo, reading a book really does help you go to sleep because like if I'm ever trying to go to sleep, I either try to read a boring book or I'll go on YouTube and watch like this really works. I'll watch like a Khan Academy video, which basically if you don't know what Khan Academy is, it's like this guy who explains how to do math. I hate math. Math is so boring to me. So that would 100% put me to sleep. Others like to take a warm bath or shower. That's 26%. That's me. I like to take night showers. What about you? you take night showers or day showers? Hit me up on socials at Crystal Rosas. Comment down below if you're watching on YouTube. I'm totally a night shower person. But since it's been hella hot out here, I've been taking like 3 showers a day because I just feel so gross. 21% like to eat a snack before going to sleep, and 18% take vitamins and supplements. But what really stuck out to me was this comfort object from your childhood. I have an awful, awful story. R.I.P. Mr. Bobos. If you have listened on the JV show, you know about him. It's been a while since I talked about him. And this has been one of my biggest heartbreaks of my whole life. I'm super lucky, knock on wood, that no one close to me and my family has passed away. Like my uncles are still alive. I've never had like a close cousin or best friend that's passed away, really. My grandmother passed away, I want to say like 5 or 6 years ago. That was pretty tough. But other than that, like, I don't think there's anyone else close to me that has passed away. And losing Mr. Bobos, I felt like I lost a family. Like, honestly, you might be like, oh my God, Crystal, you're so extra right now. Casey, hey. Wait, come say hi to the podcast. This is the filming one right now. Oh. Say hi. Do you guys remember Casey from Friday's podcast when he came in stumbling drunk as hell talking about the dating apps he's on? This is Casey.
A little coherent.
This is Casey, so now you can put a face to the beautiful voice.
There you go. Yep.
How was the Giants game?
Well, we won.
Yay!
That's kind of new. Yeah, that was nice.
Sorry for that quick interruption. We are back at it. Okay, so I was talking about my stuffed animal, Mr. Bobos, and I know some of y'all are like, oh my gosh, Crystal, you're being so extra. Like, how could it be that serious? If you ever lost like your childhood blanket or stuffed animal or just something super sentimental to you, you would know how I feel. It is the worst thing ever. I got Mr. Bobos when I was 5 years old. My dad's coworker won it at a claw machine, and he was put through the ringer. Like, poor Mr. Bobos, like his whole body was just like, at one point I had to put a baby onesie around. He was a little bear. He was a stuffed bear. He was like a clown bear, pink and green. And I had to put his whole body in like a baby onesie, like a premature onesie, because he was falling apart. And at one point I tried to take him to this doll repair shop in San Leandro. In San Leandro, there is this doll repair shop. Like, it's actually like, it's one of the only ones in the Bay Area. And he was like coming hella undone. His, like the tela, like, what is the material, like the fabric that he was so thinned out, like you could see through to like the cotton and stuff. So I took him to a like doll repair shop to see how much to kind of like fix him up and resew him and stuff. She wanted to charge me $80. She wanted to charge, and I was like, okay. So I dropped him off, and then the next day I just felt weird, like not sleeping with him. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna go back and get him back. So I go back to her store, right? And I'm like, hey, you know, I don't really know about this. Like, I kind of just want him back. And she's like, no, he's fine. Like, don't worry, I'll take care of it. I was just like, no. Like, she wasn't trying to give him back to me. I had to, like, wrestle Mr. Bobos out of I literally had to snatch it. I had to go back and, like, snatch it. And she was trying to, like, tug it away from. I'm like, you're going to break it more. And you're trying to charge me $80 to get him fixed. So I just ended up going to Babies R Us and getting him, like, a little onesie to, like, confine him so he doesn't break on me. Because he would get dirty and stuff, so I had to throw him at the washer. And I think so many times, I mean, I was like 20, up until 22, sleeping with him every single day. Whenever I would go on a vacation somewhere, I'd bring Mr. Bobos, and people would be like, haha, you sleep with your stuffed animal? I'm like, yes, I do. And so continue. And it was really, really sad when I lost him. And it was the worst thing ever. My brother dropped me off at the airport because I was going to my best friend Andrea's 21st birthday party in Las Vegas, and everyone was out there already. I had to stay back because I was working on the JV show. Everyone left like Thursday, and I couldn't go until Friday after the JV show. So my brother dropped me off at the airport, and I like left him in like one of the airport bins at the TSA. And then I was like over there, I was like boarding the plane, and I was like, oh my God, I left Mr. Bobos in the bin. Like, I need to go back and get him. But everyone was literally boarding. So I was like, I don't. And then, you know, if you're Southwest and you're boarding in Oakland, like you're like your gate like 27 or something. So you're hella far from where the TSA is. I'm like, I don't think I'm going to make it. So I was like, okay, when I land, I'm going to call the Oakland airport and like make sure that they have Mr. Bobos to save him for me. So that's what I do. I land and they're like, no one turned in a stuffed animal. I was like, I know exactly where I left him. Can you check the cameras? And they were not pressed about him at all, obviously. Like they're like, this grown ass woman over here is trying to have us check the security cameras for her stupid stuffed animal. I'm like, nah, like y'all really do need to check the cameras because I'm positive I left him right there. I remember bringing him out of my brother's van, and I know for a fact that I must have left him at the TSA because he wasn't in my brother's van. So like, no. And I was like, all right, whatever. I'm only going to be in Vegas for like 2 days. When I land back, I'll go straight to the lost and found and I'll just grab him. He must be there. Like he was a taken care of bear. Like he had clothes and stuff. If you saw this bear, you're like, oh, somebody cares about this other than the fact that I like left him. And so I land back from Vegas. First thing I do, jet to TSA. I'm like, and first of all, like that whole trip, like I was so sad. Like I was like, damn, like what the heck? Like I can't believe I'm not going to be sleeping without Mr. Bobos right now. I've never been on a flight without him. I'm telling you guys, every single place I went, I would take him. And I land back at the Oakland airport. And you know, the Oakland airport is like one of the biggest airports to lose everything. Like the Oakland airport, I think, is like #1 in the country for losing stuff. Shout out to Oakland airport. But I come back and I go to the lost and found and they're like, no, there's not a stuffed animal here. We have this brown one. I'm like, get that out of my face. That's not Mr. Bobos. They're like, well, we don't know what to do. Like, maybe if you wait a few more days, someone will drop it off. I called every single day. I went back to the airport like for 4 days straight looking for Mr. Bobos and no one turned him in. I'm hella mad to this day. And I was crying for like a week straight. I know that sounds hella extra. Like I said, y'all are like, Crystal, chill out. No. I really like, he was that thing that I slept with every single night. Every single night, Mr. Bobos was there. Every single trip, Mr. Bobos was there. Through all the stuff that I went through, like in middle school and high school, he was there. Like when I would get grounded and had to, like my mom would take my door off and stuff like that, I was sleeping with Mr. Bobos, crying to him. Like he was my comfort, and losing him was one of the worst things ever. And I remember we talked about it on the JV show, and they're like kind of all laughing at me or whatever. And then a week later, there was a story about how this little kid lost his stuffed animal, and like the whole city like was putting out flyers and they were able to get it back to him. And they're like, don't you feel bad that nobody cares about Mr. Bobos? And I'm like, yeah, it sucks. Like it really, really sucks. But you know what sucks? And in my head, what I think of is just like where he is and like how he feels like not being with me. Is that like super narcissistic? Like, I'm sad that he's not with me. Like I am like, what are his thoughts? Like, I know he's an inanimate object, but for me, like he was a real thing. And y'all are like, Crystal, shut up. Like we're done with you talking about your stuffed animal. I don't know. Do you have something that you sleep with every night? Like, or from your childhood? I know a lot of people still have their childhood stuffed animals, toys, beanie babies, blankets, and things like that. Mr. Bubbles was mine, and I'm still so sad that I lost him. So that's my story about my comfort object that I don't have anymore. I was looking all over online for like kind of like a replacement for him, which is kind of messed up, but I like need something to sleep with. Like I really did need something to sleep with. And luckily I did find like a girly version of Mr. Bobos. And I found her on eBay and she was like $50 because there was like no other ones left. And she was brand new. And I brought her into my life. Her name is Lily. And you know, you can't really replace things like that. Like, you know, if like a pet passes away or when someone passes, you can't really replace them. Like, obviously Lily isn't Mr. Bobos, but it still is comforting having Lily. I sleep with Lily every night. I take Lily everywhere on all my vacations. And she looks a lot like Mr. Bobos too, so that helps a lot. So I'm just kind of like in my head, I was like, all right, like you're Mr. Bobos' sister or something. Like, I know this is stupid. Y'all are like, girl, you are crazy. You need to go see a therapist. I probably do. But sleeping with Lily does really comfort me. And she's really sweet. And she looks a lot like Mr. Bobos. I'll post a photo of her here too. But yeah, that's kind of how I coped with it. At the end of the day, like Lily doesn't replace Mr. Bobos. If I ever were to see him again or get him back someday, like it would be the best thing ever. And I remember... You know what sucks is I remember when all that happened, we brought the psychic Gary Spivey in to the JV show, coincidentally. And he was like, do you guys know who Gary Spivey is? Like, we've had him on the JV show a lot, and he comes in and he takes calls from our listeners, and JV is really close to him, and he's like a psychic out here. And I asked Gary Spivey off air, I was like, will I ever see Mr. Bobos again? Like, will I get him back? And he said yes. He said yes, so I'm still hoping and praying that one day, for whatever reason, I will get Mr. Bobo's back. But I don't know. Maybe I should call the Oakland airport again, even though it's been like 4 years. Oh my gosh, yeah, it's been like 4 years. Whatever. Yeah, that was my story, and it was really sad. What kind of objects do you guys still have from your childhood? I would love to hear in the comments below. Hit me up on socials at La Crystal Rosas for that too. All right, you guys, that pretty much sums it up for that. Another episode of Crystal's Nightcap. Thank you so much for listening. We're on YouTube Tuesdays and Thursdays episodes of Crystal's Nightcap. And I think I mentioned in last night's episode that I was going to have a guest today. I got the days mixed up. The guest is coming in on Thursday. We're going to have an awesome guest Thursday for you. It's going to be really fun stuff that we're bringing. So I'm super, super excited. And I'll just wait until then to show you guys and tell you guys about that. But like I said, that's that on that. Thank you so, so, so much for listening. And we'll see you on the next one. Mwah! 30 minutes.